Is this thing recording? What? Okay, here we go. Hey guys, greetings and salutations, fellow travelers. That's a really dumb way to start this video. This is episode number 1 of, what did I call this series? Lessons in Getting Shit Done. Why is it called Lessons in Getting Shit Done? You know, I've been working in graphic design and illustration professionally for 20 years, since 1998. And over the years, I've learned a lot of shit. And we've had a lot of, we've had Delicious Design League. I'm the creative director, dude at Delicious Design League. We've been doing that for 12 years, 2006 officially, I guess. Been making posters since 2003, screen printed posters. And since we've had the company this whole time, we've had interns and young designers come in, and I've been able to help a lot of people that come through the doors. And I thought, you know what, I think I can help a lot more people if I just start putting videos out on YouTube. And so here we go. This is my attempt at doing that. Hopefully this will be helpful to you guys. We'll see how it goes. When people would come in, young guys, girls, they had great ideas. They had very little experience, and they just didn't know how to go from concept to final. You can have the best idea, but if you don't know how to make it shine, if you don't know how to make it look fucking good, it doesn't matter, right? So in these series of videos, hopefully what I can show you is some of the shit that I've learned and the philosophy behind it, right? So you can sort of understand how the programs work, so you can sort of figure how to get shit done for yourself, make it look professional. If you spend all day looking at Pinterest or Instagram and you're like, how the fuck do they do that? Well, hopefully I'm here to show you how the fuck they did that. So hopefully throughout the series, what I can do is I can show you things, show you the sort of the understanding behind things, but then also maybe even do some videos about sort of my sort of understanding and philosophy of design. That sort of sounds high-minded, but I think about this shit all day long, and I'd like to get it out there. I don't know why, but here we go. Hopefully it's helpful. And for those of you that just want to be here for the tutorial, I'm sorry about this intro, but it's free, so fuck you. Okay? Okay, so in today's first episode, we're going to do how to do color separations for Cmyk. I'm going to show you 2 ways to do it with an additional spot color. So I'm going to be in Photoshop, going to do the color separations, and then I'm actually going to show you how we screen print it. And that is the train. My studio's under the train. This is not a professional studio. If you can't tell, this is my actual office. So I might edit that out, or I might not, because I don't care. Okay, so let's go to the art. So let me make this smaller. Oh my God. Going away. Getting tiny. It'd be really funny if the pitch changed with it. Okay. So let's go into Photoshop here. Okay, so this is a piece of art that I've created. Half created. Let's call it that. I wanted to do something that had a ton of colors in it so that I could show you the real range of doing Cmyk color separations, because typically when you're screen printing something, it's strictly spot color, and you're picking these colors for a reason, and it's more graphic. This is more illustrative. There goes the train again. Pause, edit. Fuck you, train. Okay. This is why our rent is cheap, but you get used to it. Okay, so I sort of made a collage with some royalty-free art from Ernst Haeckel. You've probably seen this shit before. Google it. Use it yourself. Ernst Haeckel. So I kind of got some of his cool like jellyfish illustrations, made a collage. I do a lot of symmetrical stuff because who cares why I do it? This is not really about the making of the artwork, but I can sort of show you my working file. It's pretty you know, you can sort of see, you know, it's just a lot of gradients and bullshit. Just sort of painting. Pretty simple with some graphic elements. Okay. So before you do anything with your files, a couple things you have to do. Make sure you're working at fucking size. I don't know how many students have done this. 18 by 24 at 300 dpi. That's sort of your minimum. But to do the sort of halftoning and stuff, do 300 dpi. Just because the frequencies and stuff will work out that way. Okay, so what I've done here is I've made a copy of the working file and I flattened it and turned it into art right here. One other thing that you have to do, Cmyk. Make sure you're in Cmyk. How are we going to print in Cmyk if it's not in Cmyk, you dinguses? We're not making JPEGs here. Oh, this is my T. That's not professional. Okay. Then what I also wanted to do is not just do Cmyk. I wanted to add a couple of spot colors as well. Because what's the purpose of just doing Cmyk printing? So this is sort of like a metallic green that I want to add. I want to put behind everything, sort of do a metallic green. And then I wanted to do on top of everything, do a metallic gold line work thing that I created in Illustrator and just copied and pasted in here with our logo down here. So all three of those things on top of each other. I might have to go and edit that green layer, but I'll do that later. Doesn't matter for right now. Right now, we're just going to work with the Cmyk layer. So I'm going to turn off those two layers. And the first way I'm going to show you is I'm going to show you do the Halftone Dots version of it, which is sort of comic book style printing, right? Let's call it like that. Everything is sort of, if it's Cmyk printed, it's basically is going to be with Cmyk Halftone Dots for the most part. It's just when you're working with an offset printer, those dots, the LPI is really, really small. You know, the difference between DPI, LPI, dots per inch, that's your computer resolution basically. LPI, lines per inch, that is related to how many dots you can get in a square inch for screen printing. Okay, that's something good to know. Okay, so we're going to do it that way first. Okay, so this is what you're going to do. Really, really fucking simple. You're just going to go into the filter, go into the pixelate, color halftone. So this is really simple, but some really important notes in here, okay? So max radius, the bigger the number, the bigger the dots. The smaller the number, the smaller the dots. But with screen printing, there's only so much detail you can get. So you have to kind of know your setup and know your system to see how much detail you can get. Also, there's some sort of interplay between, like, if you go so small, you might lose some of the detail. It might get fuzzy in a lot of ways. So if the dots are kind of bigger, there's actually a little more contrast to it, a little more definition between the light and the dark. We found that max radius 6 pixels is, so the little dots are not going to get any bigger than 6 pixels, is really good for us. The channels. So, okay, so the channels, this is represented in the Cmyk, right? So if you think of channel 1 is cyan, channel 2 is magenta, channel 3 is yellow, channel 4 is black. This is really, really, really important. So this number determines what angle those dots are going to lay down at. If it's like, if I put that 15, 45, 90, 180 or something like that, the dots are going to sort of coincide with each other, and you're going to get a moire effect, which you don't want. You want them to be sort of random. Okay, so these are the numbers that we like to use. I think we got some numbers from Dan Black from Landland, who got them from a printer. They might be different than the ones he gave us. It's something we've sort of experimented with, talked to other printers with. Find an old pressman in your town and talk with them and see what they use at their shop. So we're going to go 22, 55, 82, 112. It's actually supposed to be 22.5, but you can't really do half numbers in this. So okay, so we're going to hit OK. You know what? Before I do that, I'm going to copy this. Always save your original art. Okay, so depending how big you're looking at this on your screen, it might not even look different at all, but let's zoom in. Okay, so now you can see the art has been changed to halftone dot patterns, and it's pretty cool looking. So here you can sort of see the difference. Okay, so now what I need to do is I need to separate these colors using the channels. So if I go into the channels, you can see that each channel, the cyan, magenta, yellow, and black, I can get at it like that. I can get at that color. Okay, so if I press command, if I command click on the cyan layer, what it does is it selects everything but the cyan. I don't know why it does this. Command Shift I, select inverse. Then I'm going to copy, go back into my layers, and paste. Okay, so this is everything, every color that had cyan represented in it, right? So you might be, well, that doesn't make sense. There's green in here. It's because the colors, when they lay over top of each other, they mix with each other. So it's going to get everything that got. I speak good. So I'm do a color overlay, 100% cyan on the color overlay. That just happened to be the color that was input in there already. One other thing that you want to do is, okay, so if I zoom in, you see these pixels. There's values of the cyan. You can't really screen print that. I mean, when I run it through the RIP program, it will interpolate it for me, but I kind of like to get everything set how I want it. And here comes the train again. So if you set the layer to dissolve, that will sort of do a quick preview version of a halftone dissolve, and it looks really shitty when you zoom out. But that's sort of a preview version. So if I make a new layer, a blank new layer, let's let that chain press. A blank new layer, select them both, and then combine them with a Command E. You can, now it's not previewing anymore, but that effect is still present, right? So all I got is cyan and nothing, which is what I want. And I'm just going to label this. So I'm just going to go through that and do that. Make sure that cyan layer is off. Go back into channels. Go magenta. Click that. Command Shift I. Command C. Copy. And then paste. Right. So we're going to do a color overlay. Going to change this to 100% magenta. Going to put it on the dissolve. Going to make a blank layer. I'm going to select them both. Command E. Combine them together. If I did this a lot, I probably would make it an action or a command or something, but I don't do it enough that I need to go through that step. Magenta. Okay, let's do it for the cyan or the yellow. So click the yellow, Command Shift I, inverse, Command C, copy, and paste. Color overlay. %, yellow. Make a new blank layer. Oops. Want to put this on dissolve first. Don't get going too fast, Billy. Jeez. And then label it. Okay. And then we'll do black. Copy, paste. Got the black. Dissolve. Color overlay. New blank layer. Unite them. Call this black. Okay. So now if I set all these layers to multiply, because what I'm doing is, that's exactly what they were doing before, you can see that the image is unchanged from when I did the halftone filter, right? So that's it flattened, basically. This is it separated, okay? And then I'll do the metallic green, and I'll do the gold on top, right? Okay. So I'm saving these out for, you know what, before we save these out for screen printing, I'm going to show you the other way we do it, okay? So this way that I just showed you is kind of traditional traditional printing, I guess you could call it. This is sort of, you know, I really don't use this that much. You know, we use this when like people come to us and they're like, oh, I got this piece of art. I never designed it. I never meant for it to be screen printed. That kind of a thing. Can you help me out here? That's when I'll use this sort of technique. But this next technique, it's really similar. It's just I'm going to be creating the dots in a different way. And this technique is something that, you know, you might see. It's different, but it's similar to how like maybe Jason Edmondson separates his color, and the way that we're going to be creating the dots. You know, that's like Martin Anson, Kevin Tong, Phantom City Creative. You know, all these kind of guys. You know, they're doing it more in a painterly way, but same kind of techniques. You could figure it out. Okay, so let's go back. I'm going to make this. Let's call this a new group. Halftone. Here comes the train. Okay, you know, I think when we screen print this, we're actually not going to do this version. We're going to do the version that I'm going to do right now. So that was sort of just an example. That was sort of an example. So this one, we're not going to hit it with the halftone filter because that's not how we're going to do it. We're just going to go directly into the channels and pull out the pixels. So this time we're gonna do exactly what we did before, but we're just not going to do the halftone filter to it, right? So Command Shift the cyan, Command Shift IN, or Command Shift I for inverse. It's hard to design and talk at the same time. And then copy and then paste it, right? So this is really, it's kind of the exact same. So this is just the cyan. So we're going to go through the exact same process we did before, right? So if I do color overlay, cyan 100 here, but I still have the problem of I can't print this. I mean, these are a bunch of gray pixels. That's not screen printable. So if I hit it with the old dissolve, just like we did before, the whole thing sort of gets turned into sort of an organic dot pattern. Oh, there goes my LaCroix. So I'm just going to make a new blank layer, going to unite it, so it's not on the preview mode anymore, and then just call it cyan. Okay, so we're just going to go through that and do that for the rest of the colors. So magenta, Command Shift I, go back to layers, copy paste, color overlay, magenta, dissolve, new blank layer, unite them. This it's turning into a song. Hopefully I'm doing this enough that you're sort of getting the rhythm to it. Maybe you could skip ahead if you've got this part already. Select the yellow layer, Command Shift I, copy paste, color overlay. Now if you're smart, you're thinking, oh, well, I could actually, if I'm screen printing this, I could make that any color I wanted, and I could make some cool choices. I can make this whole yellow layer like a split fountain or something like that, or I could make it metallic, or I could cross process it. You know, I could change any sort of variable to really create some cool things. You know, the idea is trying to show you the basics, and then you can sort of take it from there and experiment, right? Okay, so I'm isolating the black, dissolve, color overlay. Sorry, I sniffled right in your ears. That's disgusting. Black, okay. So the same thing that I did before. set these guys to multiply. There you go. So it's sort of potato to kind of depending on what sort of effect that you're looking for. Here, I'm just going to flip between the two, so we can sort of easily see the difference, right? So that's not right. Okay, turn on the layers, you dumbass. Okay. So here's the halftone screen. Now maybe if I just got the halftone screen dot smaller, maybe if I didn't put them as 6. I kind of like the halftone screen because I love old comic books and it gives me that old comic book feel. But this is a little more naturalistic. This is something that you're going to see a lot at MondoCon. It's sort of these tiny halftone dithered dots. And I got no problems with that. And especially, I'm zoomed way in. This is, it's an 18 by 24 poster. It's big, so you can sort of get away with that. Now, when you're dealing with this sort of thing, you really, this is all art, and it's pretty graphic and stuff. Or not graphic, it's wishy-washy. But if you're dealing with type or something way more graphic, you might not like the effects that doing the diffuse dither separations give you. It's something you're going to have to sort of play around with. Okay, so we're going to print yellow, magenta, cyan, black, and then I want to hit it with a metallic green underneath everything. So if we look at the metallic green, I basically just did the diffuse on that as well, right? And then the gold, which is just vector artwork, is going to go on top. So it looks pretty cool, I think. Cool. Okay, guys, true story. I just recorded this part, and then I realized I didn't hit record, so I'm going to do it again. Motherfucker. Okay, here we go. So what I've done here is I created a version of the file where I sort of just got rid of all the extraneous stuff. Also, what I've done is we're going to be printing this on 20 by 26 paper. So I've changed the canvas size, 20 by 26. And I've gone into Illustrator. I'm going to put an edit here. God damn it, I can't believe I got to do this again. Okay. Well, that's not good. I'm going to have to edit that out. So in Illustrator here, what we have is we have a master's template file. Remind me later. Don't want to update my Illustrator. Jeez. Okay, this has got sort of all of our registration marks, crop marks for all of our common sizes. This one we're going to be printing on 20 by 26 Cougar, bright white. So I'm just going to select all those contents, copy them, bring it into Photoshop, and I'm going to paste it into here. Just want to make sure that's sort of a rich black, so I'm going to color overlay. Just darken that up. Call this reg. Okay, so this has got, so if I zoom in, it's got all the reg, the crop marks and everything I need. So, if you sort of standardize your process, it just makes things way easier. So I've eliminated everything here except the layers that I need, because I don't want a big messy file to deal with. Also, that I want to kind of keep my SEPs file or my my working file alone. I don't want to accidentally save this over that or something like that. Okay, so this is probably the order I think we're going to print it in. Actually, I lied about that. This is probably the order I think we're going to print it in. We're probably going to hit it with the metallic green underlay, hit it with the cyan, magenta, yellow, black, and then the gold on top of everything. And there you go. So I have to just save out each one of these layers as its own separate file. but I can't save it out as a color. So I need to, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change this to grayscale. It's kind of just easier to do it at the beginning with everything. Here comes a train. So I'm going to change this to a rich black. Typically, our rich black that I like to use for printing anything, 30, 30, 20, 100. So 30 cyan, 30 magenta, 20 yellow, 100 black. Why? I don't know. One other really important thing is you want to label each layer, especially if you don't have your own print shop. God, that sounded so pretentious. If you don't have your own print shop like me, label each layer. Super helpful. And if you don't even have your own print shop, God, why did I say it like that? Then you could even label what order you want them to print it in. It's just sort of a foolproof way so they don't fuck up your shit. So when I save this out, I'm going to save as, because I don't want to save over my file, obviously. I'm going to save it as a Photoshop PDF. Here goes the train again. And I'm going to turn the layers off. So I'm going to flatten it. Don't save out your ready to print files with a bunch of fucking layers on it. It's just way too much. Your files are going to get too big. Shit might happen. I don't know. It's just not. It's not professional. It's bullshit, man. Don't you want to be a professional? Come on. So we usually save ours as Acrobat 6. I don't know why. It probably doesn't matter. It's a very simple file. So then I'm basically just going to keep doing this up the line, right? So for my cyan, all you have to do is change the name. File save as. Just call this 2. PDF. You could probably skip ahead to this part because it's just the same thing over and over. Just getting that rich black on that layer, changing the name. Doesn't matter if they're in the same place because really it just matters for the printer, you know. They don't have to be able to read it after they're all printed on there. Save as, Photoshop PDF. Just change the number there. No layers. Go up to yellow. Save as. Four. Go to black. Save as. And gold. You know, the reason for sort of the idea behind adding the metallic green and the metallic gold is because you want to make this special. Like you're screen printing it, so you don't want to just do a Cmyk print for screen printing. I mean, it's like, what's the purpose? Just go get an offset print somewhere. It's, you know, go to fucking Kinko's, you know? So being able to add metallics or glow-in-the-darks or varnishes and shit like that, you know, that's sort of the whole name of the game. I'm just going to go back to before grayscale and just save that again. Okay, so we're not done yet. Hide Illustrator. Illustrator's doing this stupid thing to me. This shit. Okay, so in my folder, I've got all the PDFs separated. So I want to take my first one and I want to open it up in Adobe Acrobat. I'm going to open up the page thumbnails. Then I'm going to take all the other ones that I had created. I'm going to drag them into that area. So it just makes one document out of it. I mean, they're all the same size. They all have the same properties, the same registration marks. So when I give this to the printer, he can just press Command P. I'm just going to delete those because once again, you know, keep professional, clean files. That's how you get shit done. Okay, so now this is ready to go. I'm going to send it to the printer. So we're going to meet Tyler, going to meet Ann, maybe if Ann is there. I don't know, my voice is getting higher. And we'll show you the process, we'll show you how it prints, and we'll get to see a finished product. So that's kind of cool. This is part 1. Part 2 is coming up next. So we're just going to take this into the print shop here and walk it through the big sliding door. Here we got Tyler Deal, the print shop manager. He's holding up one of the films against the light just to kind of make sure that opacity is good and all the dots look straight. So here's Tyler taking the first color, the first screen, and he's going to be burning it on our exposure unit, which is the metallic green ground layer. We line up all of our screens in the same spot every time so that when we get to press, there's really only micro registration that sort of needs to happen. It's not a big reset up every time. After he's done exposing it, he'll take it into the spray out booth and wash away the emulsion that didn't harden on the screen. So here we see the first color going down, the metallic green. You can see the detail looks pretty good, but we do lose some of the dither effects just because it's a 180 and not a 280. So here we're on to the blue next. We've made the blue just about or cyan, about as transparent as we can. So we're skipping ahead a little bit here. We've got the cyan and the magenta and the metallic green, obviously, printed up here. And now we're going to be printing the yellow. The reason that we go with yellow last, whereas a traditional offset printer would go yellow first, is because with the screen printing inks, we can get the yellow the most transparent. So that's why we go with that third. And then the fifth color is the black. The black really helps pull it all together and give it a lot more definition. And then finally we have the gold. Well, that was it, I guess, maybe. Thanks a lot for watching the first video. I hope you learned something. Hopefully I made you angry. Hopefully you disagreed with me. Maybe you've got a better way of doing what I just did. I don't give a fuck. That's cool. If there's anything that we do or someone out in the world does that you want to see, how the fuck do they do that? Leave a comment below. Obviously, like and share and all that bullshit. I don't care. But do follow me on Twitch. Twitch.tv/BillyDelicious. Maybe I'll put a graphic or something up here that'll tell you where to go. Obviously, listen to the AID podcast. A lot of you probably know me from there, where we do Shop Talk with Mark Brickey, where we talk about a lot of this crap. And thanks for watching. I appreciate it. And hopefully, these will get better and more interesting. Or maybe not. That's it. Bye. Leave me alone, okay? Jeez.